Joining me in the studio is the Reverend Frank Ritchie. Frank, kia ora. How are you?
Kia ora. I look forward to a civil conversation.
We'll try. Hey, let's find a topic that we have opposite views on and go at it. That certainly seems to be the way things are in social media. And of course, there are algorithmic reasons for that. That social media rewards conflict. It rewards controversy and it rewards strong emotions. However, we seem to have swallowed the red pill on this one, and that has become our reality. We have entered that digital domain, and we have lost our ability to have conversations with the people that we disagree with, and we have us and them and those people and our people, I suppose.
Yeah, and as someone who has spent many years often commentating on various issues, I find the nature of discourse at the moment really troubling.
Yep.
And if anything, rather than trying to dive into the specific issues that are sparking things off at the moment, I see a real need to start addressing that thing that's sitting underneath, that thing that to me feels really dark, that stops us from being able to listen and have discourse with those who are different from us, whether you be on the left or on the right.
Yep.
This idea that the other side is evil and somehow our side is good, and then battling like that as if the other side is literally an enemy, I find that really problematic.
This is quite an old narrative, though. Good versus evil. I mean, it is the age-old story. You know, it's Lord of the Rings. It's a theme which is echoed throughout the Bible as well. But biblically, theologically, saying, hey, we are the good guys, if those people are the bad guys, that's not as clear-cut.
No, it's certainly not clear-cut. And it's certainly not clear-cut once you get to Jesus and then you start working your way through the epistles, the other writings of the New Testament. And there are some consistent encouragements in the New Testament for how we should be talking to each other, what sort of conversations we would be engaging in, and how we should see people that we might, at first glance, consider our enemy. In my mind, as soon as enemy language comes up, there should be the words of Jesus ringing in the ear of any believer: love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you. You might find that when you really do that without weaponizing that prayer, that you start to see your brother or sister rather than an enemy. It's really important too, I think, to say that when that word love is not simply about a feeling that you can kind of just fob off with, oh yeah, I love my neighbor, but my neighbor does this and this and this. That word agape is about a sacrificial love. It's about being willing to lay your life down for the other.
Because those words of Jesus, oh yeah, I love my enemy. Oh yeah, they're made in the image of God. But actually, let's put some 1 Corinthians onto that. And so what does your love look like in the way you respond to this person that you also describe as your enemy? Because I think there's a purposeful contradiction within that statement, love your enemy. Because if you really love the person that you currently call your enemy the way Jesus has called you to, can you still call them your enemy?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And then when we do choose to engage in discourse and conversation, there are some challenges in Scripture for how we go about that. So I want to read a couple.
Yep.
Many people will be familiar with the fruits of the Spirit. So if you're living a life in the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control are going to be the outworkings of your life. Are those things there? If they're not, then it's probably not the God's Spirit that you're dealing with.
Yep.
But it's really interesting looking at the opposite of that. So I have a New Living Translation Bible in front of me. And the things that it lists before that as kind of the fruit of the flesh is fascinating. So when you follow the desires of your sinful nature, this is Galatians chapter 5, starting at verse 19, the results are very clear. Sexual immorality, impurity, lustful pleasures, idolatry, sorcery, and everybody go, oh yeah. But then this, think about the nature of modern discourse at the moment.
Yep.
Hostility, quarreling, jealousy, outbursts of anger, selfish ambition, dissension, division, envy, and then it goes on into other things that we would usually recognize. But if that's true, then wherever there is unbridled argument going on, people are dividing and people are going at each other, we're not seeing the fruit of the Spirit, we're seeing something else.
For a lot of people on this one, and there are hot button issues, and honestly, you can put your own issue in this one, but I know for a lot of people they are passionate about this because they see that they are taking a stand for righteousness. They're doing what Jesus would do. They are pushing back against the evil tide of secularism. They are making the world a better place through the stand in which they're taking. Well, at least that's their stated motivation, Frank.
Yeah, and certainly that's often what it feels like. I can think of plenty of issues where I've gone at it feeling like that I was on the side of right here.
Yep.
Jesus flipped the tables, so I'm flipping the tables. The problem is we're flipping the tables every single week at the moment, and maybe even every 24, 48 hours we're flipping the tables. Jesus flipped the tables once.
Yep.
And then when we look at the conduct of the early Christians in the Roman Empire before Christianity became the religion of the empire, and we look at how they conducted themselves, they were never offensive to those who spoke differently, who thought differently, who believed differently, who worshipped differently. If you look at Paul in Acts when he's with people who think very differently from him and are engaged in activities that he would probably find completely and utterly offensive to his own morality,
Yep.
he's very respectful. He's almost deferent to them. I remember reading a letter in the first couple of hundred years of the church. I can't remember who the church father was. Might have been Origen. I can't remember. But writing to the emperor of the day to talk about the persecution of Christians and how Christians contribute to society in a good manner. Mm-hmm. And again, you've got an emperor who thinks and believes very differently, very offensively. His people are persecuting Christians, but the deference and the respect in that letter is phenomenal. And all the writer does is build the case for why Christians are valuable in society and explains what it is that we believe.
How do we get down off our high horses on this one, though? Because, I mean, we live in a society where people have come to conclusions either because of their upbringing or their background, or they've been triggered by something which has happened in social media. It's a great theory, and there's some good scripture to back that up, but how do we put that into practice, Frank? How do we live in a way where we can not only love our enemies, but befriend them and call them enemies no more?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think see it first, see the noise, see the heaviness, see the destructiveness, and see our own emotion. When we feel an emotion, like let's say you read something on social media and you feel an emotion that has you pulling out your keyboard ready to type really fast.
Yeah.
Spot that emotion and ask yourself, why do I feel like that? Mm-hmm. And is this how Jesus sees the person that I'm about to respond to? And if it's not, then pause and think, how would Jesus see them and what would Jesus do with them? He'd probably pray for them.
Yep.
So pause, take a breath, pray for the person you're about to have a go at.
In the real world, can we take active steps to cross the line, to engage with people who have very different opinions than ourselves? Can we activate that, not just in the social media world, which is tough enough as it is, but also to, I suppose if we did a stock take on the people that we regularly associate with, how much overlap of worldview is there? If the only people we know are people that agree with us, and we're very quick to unfriend, both online and in person, those people that we have a bust up with, maybe that's also an indicator that something's broken, right?
Yeah, I think very much so. I think it's extremely healthy to find and to cultivate relationships with people who think differently from us, to have them in our homes, to break bread together, to eat together, to pray together, to worship together. When I think about the table of Holy Communion in the worship setting,
Yep.
Every single person is welcome at that table, no matter who they are and no matter what they think. And so when I come to that table, I should be doing so with a sense that I love the person who's coming with me, no matter what they think. So yeah, I think we desperately need to cultivate good friendships and real relationships with people who think differently from us.
And if you think about the meal that table is based on,
yes,
there was an enemy at that table. There was somebody dipping their bread in the wine who would, within a few hours, betray Jesus, and yet he said, "Come,
yep,
I'll wash your feet. Let's eat together. Let's break bread together." That's an example for us to follow, surely.
Yeah, very much so. And at that table, there would have been people who were enemies with each other. Think about the tax collector.
Yep.
Think about Peter. The zealots. They would have hated each other given the chance. But Jesus managed to draw them together. We have that responsibility too.
Hey, appreciate what you bring to this table. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.